All right, Brandon here again from NAISH, and we've switched gears. We went from kiteboarding to this new thing that everyone is obsessed with called the wing foiling. Now, this is a merge of hydrofoiling, which kind of started with kiteboarding, windsurfing, SUP, wing is like it's like a whole merging of a sport. And if you've been living under a rock and you don't know about it, you should like open your computer and see what about wing. It's phenomenal. I'm obsessed with it. It's so fun. It's getting more people into water sports because it's slightly easier. It's less dangerous. The accessibility is huge. So the demographic is massive. You got kids, you got grannies, you got old ladies, you got young guys. Everybody's doing it. It's all the rage. So what we have here is we have our 2025 ADX. It's our premium high quality Q series wing.
Yes.
We also offer the ADX in an InVision construction. So we do have an Alula high-end ADX, but we don't have that with us right this moment. So it kind of highlight this guy right here. And what I would like to see here is first and foremost, for those people that are familiar with the ADX, we made a couple small, well, big refinements. So first is going to be obvious panel layout. Okay. So we've added some diagonal load seams. We've added some cross horizontal seams. We've added some new window layouts. And all this work is to reduce the blowout. So like this part of the wing gets a lot of push on it, right? So we want to move that tension across the wing to make it less likely to have deterioration or aging and fatigue of this wing. So not only does this improve the canopy tension, which is wonderful, very nice. Like you're talking like drum tight up here in the top with that big snap in there. So we have good snap. Not only does it improve the canopy tension, it improves the long lasting life of this wing. So you're not going to bag it out in one season and sell it to your friend and be like, oh, sorry, I gave you kind of a bagged out wing. This thing is going to hold its life. It's again using high-end materials here, and we have really good windows. Another big important thing that you might not see or might not know about is we have this T-bone junction. So we use an alternative, heavier Dacron. We have 160 GSM Dacron here, and I think this is 210 GSM. Don't quote me on this. Essentially, it's a much stiffer Dacron here in the center, which is where the wing needs to be stiff to reduce flex. So not only is this part stiffer to reduce the flex and transfer power to your hands, we also run it down the middle of the strut to make sure we get nice snap off the strut. So that's a really important feature that some people don't know about. This adds a lot of rigidity and performance to the wing. Additionally, we extended the length of our front handles. So handles are all the rage, hard handles, soft handles, booms, whatever. It's all over the rage. Some of our wings are going to be featuring boom setups. This particular one is still in the handles realm, but we wanted to increase the real estate for your hands. So we increased the front boom to give you more space to do your tacks and jives, kind of find the handles easier. Additionally, by lowering the handle down below the CG or CE of the wing, center of effort of wing, I can now fly the wing one-handed positively without tuck off this bottom handle. So if I'm going here in the gorge, it's very downwind wave riding. It's not side shore, it's like onshore because like the waves go with the wind. It's so nice to just hold this in front of you and not actually go to here where you're running into it. You keep it powered and it keeps pulling you. So this addition of positive pull on the front handle is really, really important for me personally. I think it's a huge, huge advantage to this wing. It also is going to
come. It's also nice for freestyle stuff. It allows people to do some grabs, hold the handle a little more neutral way, and it just stays powered. It also helps getting on the board if you need a little help stabilizing that wing. So there's other benefit for sure.
We are doing separate air chambers between the struts because it turns out the industry has said that like, I want this really stiff. I might want this a little flexier. So we don't want to have them connected where they're not independent. It's better for safety. If you pop one thing, it doesn't pop everything. And then two, we use our high quality, high speed inflation SUP valve here. It's so fast and so easy for inflation and deflation. It's super reliable. You don't got to go looking for freaking pump adapters. It's like pretty common. So it's a really great, robust inflation system. I don't think too many other people run these particular valves on their wings.
Not too many people are picking up on it. You know, you've been doing this for a long time and you're starting to see it a little bit more. So
yeah,
it's a good valve system.
We're really happy with the valve system. There's obviously some bells and whistles here. We have some battens to stop the flutter. We have a really great shape. There was some things that you aren't going to notice because it's nuanced. We changed where the draft, which is the depth of the profile, is aligned, and kind of some profile refinements in order to make the wing more balanced off of both hands, to have better forward drive and be better on the free fly. So for those of you that are familiar with this wing, what I'm looking at in improvements are not only in durability and longevity, we're getting better performance on these handle systems, we're getting better inflation, and honestly, with the refinements of the profile, the whole wing is just better. Like in my personal opinion. I rode the first one, I rode this one. I want this one. It's quite nice. It performs really well. Yeah. It free flies really well. They can flip it. They can do all the things. So if you're looking for a wing that can it jump? For sure. Can it free fly? For sure. Can you like give it to your friend and use it? For sure. I hate to say it's a do all, but like I don't need to sell you 20 different wings in order for you to have your wing career. Really I can sell you one confident wing that I feel really confident. It comes in a variety of sizes from small to big by half sizes. And it's just a really solid platform to base your wing career off of. I'm so confident in this wing. It's almost scary.
No, it goes for sure. I mean, whether it's flat water freestyle, rip in the river here, small waves, big critical waves. I've had this thing out and everything. It's sick. I'm beyond stoked.
And then obviously winging is a sport that is just started, and there's a couple epicenters, right? We're standing in one right now, the Gorge. And Maui, I would argue, is a pretty big epicenter for winging and foiling and all that kind of stuff. The company was founded in Maui. This stuff is tested in Maui. We tested right here in the Gorge. So we're basing all of our gear and our experience off of two very important centers of development and progression to make sure our gear is holding to the high standards. We're not making it in the middle of nowhere and going, our wings are great. We're comparing it to everybody's stuff day in, day out. And so we are very confident that what we're delivering is going to tick all those boxes that you need for not only great sessions, great longevity, great resale, great confidence in the equipment, because not only are we making it really great, we have a great warranty system, we have a great customer service team. Like we stand behind our stuff. We believe in our stuff. And I think that that's really important. So do you have anything else you want to hit on this one?
I think you nailed it all, Brandon.
Okay.
The wing is sick. Try it out. You'll like it. I can say that with confidence. Get out there.
So now that we talk about what you use this wing, now we want to talk about the other parts of what you need. So there's a board. You're going to need a board, and you're going to need all this fancy carbon stuff. So before we get into this, because this is really on trend, let's talk about, honestly, I'm really excited to talk about this board right here, this hover downwind crossover. So that's kind of a little bit of a wordy mouthful, but what I want you to notice about this board, it's long, it's a bit narrow, but it's not as narrow as this board. So as a winger, you need some stability, but you need efficiency. Efficiency lets you get on smaller wings. It lets you get out on 15 knot days. It lets you like take advantage of a lot of things. So by having a board with a longer water line, something that is more efficient in the water, you're gonna have not only an easier time getting up and riding, you're gonna have more conditions that you can go out in, and you're gonna be really comfortable. I think the days of the short, fat, wide boards are numbered. I think everyone's gonna be not super skinny, but I think long and skinny, you see it in the mid-lengths all up and down the beach. Like this is not something that's accidentally happening to all the brands. There are advantages to riding boards like this massively. So this is a really exciting, since I got back into winging, I did not go back to one of these small boards because I don't have balance. This has been so wonderful for me. I can balance on it. I can get up with like not that much power, and it's so fun to ride. It's lightweight, it's easy, it's really great.
They carry a ton of speed on the water. One thing I love to just make sure everybody understands is they're very balanced, and they also ride like a much shorter board. If you look at where the foot strap positioning is of this board, you've got a lot of neutral space in the back and not a lot of space in the front. So when you're standing on this thing, this board may be a 6'4", but visually what's in front of you, you're gonna think you're on a 5'4". Reason being, the track is forward, it's a very balanced board, and this was particularly the 6'4", 19, 5.3, 85 liters. So basically on the board, but because there is such in the middle of it, it rides small, absolutely rips.
So like foil boards can be like this, where the foil's really far in the back and there's a lot of board in front of you. Those feel big. You have foil boards that become like a T. Those feel small because you're over the center of the board. You're not throwing all that weight around. So by moving the tracks forward, by getting the optimum volume balance, you have a board that feels a lot smaller than it actually is. It feels really good underfoot. So moving from that one, for those people that are really into performance winging, let's say they're like, hey, I'm not a beginner, I'm not a light wing guy, we have a board called the Chimera. So if those of you don't know anything about Greek mythology, or what the Chimera is, a multi-headed beast that can do a million different things. So this board channels that vibe. So not only is it a performance shape that's gonna get you playing early, lower water line, really well balanced, it's gonna get you, you can do flips on this, you can paddle this in to prone it, you can wing it, You can tow foil it. I think on the smallest one, you could kite foil. That's a small enough board to kite foil for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of a one board to do them all-ish / progression board. And it takes advantage of the narrower, longer things that we're learning to make this board really fun and easy to ride still, considering this is a 410,
That's the
19,
40 liter, half 40 liter.
So like most people are like 40 liters, I can't ride 40 liters. You might surprise yourself because it's more efficient. So it's something to think about and something to look at. It comes with full inserts, deck, all the standard things that you're gonna think of with NAISH, high quality EVA, and it is a blast on the water.
One thing I love is the extra volume through the nose. It's got a little convex nose piece here. It makes it so whenever you put the nose down, it's more likely to rebound off the water, not penetrate it and stop you. It really helps for freestyle, really helps for waves when you're about to bottom out on
And also when you get up on your knees to like knee ride, you see these little dimples? Those kind of like lock your knees in so you can kind of control the board with your hips versus just being on a flat surface. So this is giving you control over the surface while you're riding it. It's kind of it's a feature that's not really a feature, but like when you use it, you're like, oh yeah, it's quite nice.
On it right here,
or you're laying on it, it's like pushing your ribs.
Loves you. It's nice.
Yeah. Okay, so moving forward from the board technology, we have our InVision hover downwind. So downwind SUP is all the rage these days. Well, if you live in Hood River, it is. But like, so what we are taking advantage of is our InVision construction. This is going to be a lighter weight board. It's going to be a little bit narrower than what you're going to see on the downwind crossover because it's specifically targeted at the downwind SUP category. So you're going to see a board that's narrow with vertical rails that allow you to track in a straight line. You don't need to like always be wiggling. So you're getting a lot of forward drive. You're getting a narrow, efficient planing haul. You're getting something that's light and very well balanced in terms of where the boxes are to the volume distribution. Downwind SUP floating is really hard enough. You don't need to make your boards make it any harder. So we do all that we can do to relieve that hard freaking, and you're up and it's great. So we're really happy about this line of boards. And to be honest with you, if you live in a place where you're doing downwind SUP and wing, buy this and wing this thing. Like they're so fun to wing too. And then you get all the practice in the crossover. There's no downsides to riding these boards with wings. They get up in light wind and they're freaking so fun. So like, I don't think you always need to be looking at a tiny 40 liter board to have fun on the water. Does that make sense?
Makes
Easy. And this is just a really great balanced shape. It's got a really like refined tail where everything's coming off. It's got a really smooth, efficient bottom. It's got really long track adjustment to make the use of all the different foils that people might throw on this thing, right? And it's really, really beautiful. I love the blue sanded. I don't know. I like the color blue. I'm a blue guy. I like blue. So given that we have all these wonderful wing and foil boards, you're like, well, what do we put on them? And so we turn just this slight way and we see all this beautiful carbon stuff. And so now we want to start talking about the hydrofoil. And there are a few components to a hydrofoil. First one we'll start with is a mast. Masts are really important. They cut through the water, they transfer the board, they put the board and the foil together. So if this is a noodle, not so fun. If this is draggy, not so fun. If this breaks, not so fun. So what we have here is a very high-end, high modulus carbon mast in an 85. They come in 75, 85, 95. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
So not only do we have a very awesome refined profile that's really hydrodynamic and fast and sleek, it's super stiff and it's like performance-wise is super great in my opinion. We have a tapered rake here. So like what you're seeing is it's narrower here where you're riding it so it's more efficient, and it's thicker up here where it needs to be stronger. So it's strong up here, maneuverable down here. Makes sense, right? Pretty obvious. So we taper that down to make sure we get the right balance of weight, flex, and bend. In like flex, bend, balance, all that stuff kind of blends with this profile. And you look on the bottom, we have a really great, robust integration system. So do you know the actual technical name of this thing? Does it have a technical name besides a really sweet put together system?
It's a great put together system.
Essentially what we have, is we have a ton of geometric tie-ins down here. So you can see we have this big box in here. It's very wide. It's just 2 screws, very simple, 2 big M8 screws. And not only that, there's no malleting. There's no like bonking your fuselage on and off. It's very corrosion resistant and it's very easy to install and put on the system. Boom, you're on, you put your 2 screws in, you're great. These come in 2 different lengths and they are 100% CNC'd aluminum. Guess why? Because it's really strong. So this is important to transfer the load from the wing through this thing into this thing to your feet. If any of this is sloppy, your performance is sloppy. So we choose to use a very robust connection and a very robust build. You can see we have some 3D shaping. We have like, looks like a fish because it's like thick here, and then it's got like this beautiful tail. There's like a lot of engineering in this little thing. We also have 3 holes back here. So guess what? You want to have a shorter fuse, just move your wing forward. You want to have a longer fuse, move your wing back. That changes maneuverability and stability. So a couple options here. And then finally, up here on the front, we have this scarf joint. So this is a geometrically tied in structure so that you can see the wings over here also feature the deep integration. So when these two things come together, before you even put the screws in, they are robustly joined geometrically. So there's no play or slop in this system, even before you put the screws in. So we have a very robust system that transfers, again, I sound like a broken record, but we want the loads to go from this thing to me as efficiently as possible. If there's any slop in here or any play, we're losing performance. So
the thing that's really cool about this front wing mount too is it's been the same for every NAISH foil we've made. So if you have an OG NAISH foil, you can grab this sick 840 HA, slap that on your foil and go have a great time. So our systems are fully interchangeable on the front wing setup, and it's phenomenal. Building off what Brandon was saying about stiffness, whenever that mast or wing or anything is more rigid, is not stiffing, that's power transfer directly from you to your wing to the water. So anytime there is a slop in it, there's a little loss of energy right there. It's why like a road bike has no suspension. You want that stuff to be fast, stiff, and this one's phenomenal. It's one of the stiffest on the market by far.
And to try to simplify things out a little bit, we offer this mast in a carbon HM construction, a standard carbon construction, and an aluminum construction. There's no like blends of carbon. There's no nothing weird. And what's really great is the carbon HM and the carbon feature the same profile, very similar. The materials change, so there's more stiffness here, but you're not getting like a fat profile because you got a kind of not a full HM mast. You're getting a high-end performance mast. It's maybe going to be just a little bit less stiff as this one, so there's no swap, and you don't have to feel bad if you kind of like don't want the HM one because you don't want to shell out the extra dollar. You're not going to have performance loss by using the conventional one. So we kind of have a system that's really straightforward, really easy. Now, that's the mast and that's the fuselage. We talked about those two things. Is there another important thing with the hydrofoils?
I think that's the wings, Brandon.
The wings. This is what makes it all possible. So I have a big rack here. I have a couple things we can talk about, but the first thing I want to pull out here is our HA, Jet HA wing. So this is the 1040. It comes in 640, 840, 1040, 1440, 1640, 1840.
Yeah, there's a 1240 as well.
1240.
They all rip.
There's like 6 or 7 sizes. And the reason why there is that many sizes is because we want to offer different weights and different skill sets access to the same thing. Like if this is only a 1040 and you were really heavy, you would be like, I can't ride that 1040. Or you were really light, you'd be like, I can't ride that 1040. So we have a very wide range of sizes in order to accommodate the most number of people. The best part about the line is they feel very uniform across the size range.
For sure.
From the tiniest ones, which are obviously quite fast, to the biggest ones, which are going to be, you know, a little bit slower, but you notice the plan form, the shape, everything is kind of staying the same. So we have a very uniform system that someone can box up and down by weight or conditions in order to get a similar feel. They have a rolled up tip so that you can't stab yourself with the wing. They have a nice rake on the leading edge to give them good forward drive through the water. There's not a bunch of leading edge up here. And they're at AR, this is a 9.2. So we're hitting the box on the high AR. These are great for glide. They're actually a little more maneuverable than I thought they were going to be.
Ridiculously well. I mean, for a high aspect foil, since I got on these things, man, like the turn performance is there. I mean, in these action sports, I've kind of just been chasing the turn my whole life, and like HA foils are great, but I've always felt they want to go straight. They want to turn kind of on rails. These guys keel that over, you feel like you're on a surfboard. They really rip a turn, which I think is pretty rare for an HA foil with that level of glide. They wingtip out phenomenally well.
You can get them like
a shreddable high aspect foil, which, what else we here?
Yeah, so coming back from the injury, I was really impressed with the turning characteristics of this foil and the glide and the ability to just like couple pumps glide. They're phenomenal. I use the 1040 for my daily driver, light wind, whatever. And if it starts to get windy or the swell gets bigger, I drop down to the 840. These are kind of my two that work for my weight. I'm 192 pounds or 85 kg. These two things are like my quiver. I don't really need much more than this. I could, if I wanted to be really light and go pump foiling, I have other options, but these two for me really work really well. So that's the HA line. In addition to the HA line, the Jet HA, we have the Ultra Jet. Okay, so you may look at this and go, well, that's not high aspect enough. But guess what? High aspect wings have just come onto the scene in the last couple of years. So this is a little bit lower aspect ratio at a 5.6. It's going to come in a variety of sizes. They're going to be in the 50 instead of the 40. So to differentiate them, 1250, 1050, 850 instead of 840, 1080. So best thing about the UltraJet is how forgiving and easy it is to ride.
For sure.
When you first learn to hydrofoil, it's really hard. It's weird. It's like nothing you've ever done. So if you jump right onto one of these high aspect wings, you're not going to have that great of a time, even though your friend sold you one because he told you have to have one. Yeah. Turns out these lower aspect wings are so much more forgiving in terms of their speed that they'll foil both high and low, how maneuverable they will be, how forgiving they will be. So for someone that's looking into like paddle surf or someone that just is learning or wants to like figure this out, the UltraJet offers a very comfortable platform and to work on your progress.
For sure.
When you first start foiling, you're like, what is this crazy sport? You have a lot to learn. So this is a great spot to start. And the best part about it is it features the same geometry, the same everything. So all you got to do, take this one out, drop it down, throw a high aspect on there. Once you want that, you could buy a la carte, buy a front wing only, and boom, you're into the high aspect range. And then this is great for light wind days, for surf foil, for someone who's learning. It does not get thrown away. This is a very great hydrofoil for a lot of use cases. I think because it's not thin, pointy, people overlook it. And I think that's a big mistake. I think people jump to this stuff way too quickly. They forget that you have to work up to this stuff. They just want it. So I think this one is often overlooked, and it's really important that people know about it and that we offer such a great thing. In
On a high-end standpoint, like the UltraJet series, they're also ripping the surf. It wants to ride more in the pocket. A high aspect foil is always going to try and run out in front of the power, while the UltraJet, if you want to stay like in curl of a wave, that one is a phenomenal foil. In the smaller sizes, it's great for tow foiling. The smaller sizes are great for kite foiling. Anywhere you're really trying to stay closer to that power, that style of foil goes really, really well. So it's not just for beginners. It does make foiling easier, but as an advanced foiler, once you become an advanced foiler, it's still something you have a ton of fun
And
with.
we've added a new size to the HA line, and we've added a new size to the UltraJet line. And what the idea is, we used to have a kite foil and a wing foil. We're condensing a little bit the line to make it so that you can kite foil on those same wings, you can wing on those same wings, you can paddle on those same wings. So our line becomes HA, Jet HA, UltraJet are our main two flavors. And we're gonna sprinkle in a few extra little yummies here in the meal, if you think of it this way. The first one that I'll dangle in front of you, because it's all the rage right now, is the glider. We have a really long wide. We might win for the widest span on the thing. I've seen some wider ones, but
definitely the competition.
Essentially what this is what it's called. It's a glider. So this is our light wind / pump foil, or downwind sup foil if you really want the bottom of the barrel. This thing has got a ton of leading edge straight surface. It's got a pretty decently lifty profile with a little bit of reflex in here. And what this allows you to do is get up on foil. It's so easy to get up on foil. It comes in 1800 to 1400, two sizes for a big guy, light wind, super light wind, bottom of the barrel chaser, or someone who wants to use this as their like, this is my daily driver, kind of like, I'm a bigger guy, but I need some surface area. So this is the glider. It's super, super phenomenal. And if you want to dock start or get off the water in no wind, this is where you're gonna go. You could get a giant HA, but like this is gonna have better low end than that thing. So like if you really want to chase the bottom of the barrel, this is your one. It's the glider. It's phenomenal. On top of that one, we're going to have a couple wings here. Maybe you want to talk about this one, the 914.
Yeah, 914 was kind of the evolution that turned into our HA series. 914 carries speed really well. This and the Mach 1 series are a full carbon. They're a little bit heavier, intended to handle very high speeds well. They're great for windsurf foiling. They're great for high speed winging, some racing. Also in smaller sizes, they kite foil really well too. But anytime we really try to prioritize speed, 914, Wind Wing HA, or the Mach series.
The Mach series, basically.
They go.
These are, I don't want to say specialty foils, but they're for people who are looking to just like go really fast.
Yeah.
Some people love to go really fast. These foils go really fast. They turn well, but they don't turn as well as some of the other ones, but they go way faster than all of them. They're way more solid.
Some people just want to go fast.
Some people just want to go fast.
Kind of the name of the game.
You never know. You never know.
I've got some cool tails.
Yeah, go ahead.
On.
You know, you can hit those for sure.
Tails, cool.
Yeah.
So starting off, we've got our standard HA stabilizer. This one has winglets. This style of tail really does turn well. It wants to remain more locked into the turn. It makes the whole system feel very stable this way because you have resistance on these wingtips here.
And it is a stab that can't fully stab you. So like,
Yeah.
this is also safe. And when you set it down on the beach, look, like there's no wingtip to blast into the concrete or the parking lot or whatever. So not only does this increase your turning and your characteristics, your tracking, it's gonna make it safer and more durable.
This is their 2D stab line. These are flat, very simple tail. This is a 250, comes at 250, 210, 180, and a 160. What you get here is a foil with less drag, more speed. It's also easier to make it break loose a turn. If you want to do more of a critical turn, kind of feel like you're doing that shortboard style, this one really will be able to kind of smear that turn a little harder and not just stay so locked in the rails.
Smear, I like
Yeah,
that.
they
I
smear
like
well.
Smear it.
It just makes you have that more aggressive approach, and they also go faster. So for those of us who really want to pump far.
So what Ashlyn was saying, and I think it's really important that we talk about, is hydrofoiling works on 3 axes: pitch, yaw, and roll. So pitch is up and down, roll, side to side, yaw, slip. Okay, so when you have a lot of vertical things or bends in your thing, they're usually pretty locked in the yaw. They're quick to roll, they're quick to pitch, but they won't really like do this. With this flat stabilizer here, we have a very easy wing that is able to slip sideways in the yaw. So if we pair this with a really wide span front wing that doesn't love to roll, we don't need to roll the turn. We just slide or smear, as you said. So we modulate our turn shape. Instead of being heavy on bank rolling, we're heavy on yaw and slipping. So this makes a more playful feel on a wide foil. And like Ashlyn said, it runs at a leaner angle of attack, so it's more efficient, less drag. So those of you that are looking for the glidiest foils, these are gonna be really great. And usually glidey foils are really wide. So this also pairs well with those because it makes them more dynamic and maneuverable. So the 2D stabilizers are not only great for speed, they're awesome for it's like a slightly different feel to the same wing that you already have. It's like a new flavor, a new topping for your ice cream sundae. You want strawberry sauce, I want chocolate sauce. He wants chocolate banana, you know, it's like
Strawberry.
dude, pick your flavor. Yeah. We have a couple different flavors to choose from. So
They're all good.
That's kind of the idea behind the tails here, and that kind of rounds out our foil line,
Yeah,
right?
that's it. Don't sleep on NAISH foils. They're great. Test with your local dealer. If you have questions, hit us up. We're happy to help. The stuff's really good. Try it out. You'll see.